This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I break down the NBA Finals matchup of the Denver Nuggets versus the Miami Heat. We break down what the Miami Heat did to almost lose that series versus Boston Celtics. And then we talk about the matchup itself. We break down what we think the X factors will be, what we think each team has to do to come away with a Larry O'Brien trophy. And then we talk about the best logos in the NBA, the top 5 logos we each think are in the NBA right now. All that and so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and yes, we are recording at night again, or at least my time I am. So it's going to be fun. We're excited. We are back. Josh, it's been kind of like not really a crazy week outside of the finals of the NHL and the NBA NHL conference finals and NBA conference finals. But outside of that, man, it's just been normal baseball talk and some soccer things happening. But other than that, man.
Yeah, what the heck is this Luton Stadium that I keep getting tagged in?
So do you want me to give you a little background? It's a great.
Please do, because I just get tagged in and it looks really crappy. And I'm assuming it's a club that got relegated up. And since they've been historically terrible, they have terrible facilities. And so it looks really bad right now. That's my guess, but we'll see how right I am.
You're a little off on that, okay? So Luton Town just got promoted to the Premier League, right? So if you're not a soccer fan, basically there's Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, and then there's the National League and then non-league, basically. And Luton Town just got promoted, kind of shock and awe type thing, promoted to the Premier League. And if you go online, I wish I could screen grab here, but if you go online, look up Luton Town's facilities. Their stadium is literally in the middle of apartment complex. Like there's apartment buildings everywhere around. It's a very rundown stadium. It's very old. They were founded, I think, early 1900s, but this is the first time they've ever been to the Premier League. So back in 2014, they were in the National League or the non-league. They've went from non-league in 2014 to 2023. They're now in the Premier League, which is actually really incredible. There's a player, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he actually has been with them from 2014 to 2023. He's the first player ever to go from non-league to Premier League with the same team. So it's actually a really awesome story. I think they're going to get slaughtered next year unless they do something magical, because the money, I mean, the one thing about this is now when you make it to the Premier League, you're pretty much set. Like even if you get relegated, you have this, they call them balloon payments from the Premier League. You're pretty much set in the championship and you can just basically float in the championship for the next 30 years. And you're kind of fine with that money. But yeah, it is very fascinating. So Josh, yes, that was kind of the news this week or this past week and a half of Luton Town. So to answer it, that's the short answer, if that makes sense. Maybe Jared can come on and give us more of a detail, but that is the answer that I know of and I've researched. So
yeah, that's almost what I thought, I guess. So now that they're a Premier League team, is anything going to be done about their stadium, or are they going to be playing games in that place?
So it depends on the seating. I don't know the seating. So there's a seating requirement in the Premier League. I think it's 10,000, maybe. I think it is. So if they seat 10,000, they might have to do like upgrades of like safety and things like that, like just upgrading certain things. But if they need to have either a new stadium or extend the stadium, which there's not much space, then they're going to have to play at a different stadium for the season until they get those upgrades done. So it's a very tricky situation, and you don't really see that very often. And that's part of the reason why I kind of wish relegation would come to America in many sports, because I think it'd be fun. Like I just think it'd be fun to see like these small teams just kind of do some wild and
the Columbus Clippers would get relegated up and Cleveland would become the AAA team right now. It sounds like.
I know it's
another
like
story
that.
For another day, though.
That is true. So Josh, before we get into the deep dive of everything here, how was your week, man? How was your week? How have you enjoyed this nice sunshine you have here in Ohio, or there in Ohio?
Week's been good. Yeah, like you said, we've had a couple back-to-back 80+ degree days here.
That's nice.
Over the weekend, I got to eat at one of my favorite Indian restaurants. Watched a little bit of some sports, so can't complain. Wasn't bad. How about you? How's the football game?
Yeah. So we just clinched playoffs. Fun fact. So on Saturday, we beat the other Budapest team, one of the other Budapest teams, and we clinched playoff, which we have a playoff berth for our top division team. And we find out this Saturday. So if we win this Saturday and another team loses, then we can get as high as the 3 seed, or we can get as low as the lowest seed, which is the 6 seed. So It is fun. It's kind of crazy. It's coming to an end, at least the regular season and stuff. I mean, we started in January and we're almost at the end of the season. And then junior season starts pretty much right after that. So it is a full year job, as they would say. Some people think that football is only, 6 months or whatever, but no, it's pretty much a full year job. So it's kind of fun because, in the summer I get to do different things and still get to coach and help out with that. So it's been a blast. It's been very warm here. I think we have a game on Saturday, and I think it's supposed to be like in the high 80s, which is just going to be awful to coach in. If anybody understands, coaching in the heat is awful because you're just standing there in dry heat basically. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's the update from the old Budapest Cowbells, identity, I guess. So yeah. So also, if any of you want some cowbell merch, let me know and I can always throw it your way. Because who wants to have cowbell?
And speaking of playoffs, we just wrapped up another NBA playoff series that
we almost got.
We may have almost spoken too soon on last week, much more so you than me, but we ended up with a Miami Heat victory over the Boston Celtics, Game 7. The 150th team out of 150 to be up 3-0 and finish the series as the winner. Boston, however, I found out was the first team out of those 150 to have that Game 7 played on their home court and lose it. So
sucks.
If anybody could have done it, it sounds like it could have been Boston, but ultimately winning 4 games in a row was just too tall of a task.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I said 3 was evil,
Didn't help too that Jason Tatum had the injury very early on, so he wasn't at full strength, and I guess Jaylen Brown wasn't at his best either. And I don't think anybody's going to be complaining, though, especially on the Miami side with all the injuries they've had to deal with this year.
Well, I was thinking about what's the guy? Is it Martin? Is that his name? The dude that's like he was undrafted or whatever. He has a twin brother. It just seems like the Heat. That's what they are, just this undrafted team. But no, obviously ESPN is such a reliable source of sports knowledge, they were just full of just lovely things about how they need to split up Jaylen Brown and Jason not Jason Tatum, right? Jason Tatum, right?
Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that's right. I just blanked there for a half second. That was weird. But Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I sat there and go, so you're telling me Celtics fans would want the 2 best players of the team to be separated and to be one of them be traded for who? Right? Like, it's just some things that are said after these losses, like, how will we give credit to the fact that the team climbed back from 3-0? Like, I guess I'm just some of that positive mentality of like, let's kind of look to the future rather than just like, kind of be frustrated about.
Well, here's the other thing. If you're a Boston fan, you've been talking about the future since 2014.
That's true.
Like we're going to accumulate all those picks from the Brooklyn Nets. You're going to have this young core of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And you've had a couple other pieces sprinkled in there. Marcus Smart has been along for the whole way too. Yeah. And I mean, you're at the prime of all of it for sure right now. And we've seen, I guess, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both fold in certain big playoff moments. You've made 1 finals that you lost to Golden State. And so if you're a Boston fan, how much longer are you patient with this group until you realize maybe we've topped out here and it's time to break it up, accumulate more picks and start over again?
Well, I think
that's more of what they're discussing.
Well, I think it's the same thing with I think the 76ers are in that boat. I think that you look at the Knicks even a little bit, like there's a lot of things with the Knicks, like what are you going to put in that piece? I think even the Cavaliers, like as much as we love the Cavs.
Well, if you're the Knicks and you're the Cavs, you're in the process of building something right now. But Philly, they've somewhat broken up, at least the core with Ben Simmons being gone, and they tried James Harden alongside Joel Embiid. I think Embiid's their clear superstar, but they're just trying to, I guess, build the team around him and try to find something that can work.
Yeah,
and if you're Boston, I think getting rid of Al Horford is a good start.
That's a good one.
Get some more true bigs in there, some younger guys, and maybe that can help you out. But yeah, I mean, perhaps Boston, perhaps Philly have topped out.
I saw something. I saw a trade proposal that said DeAndre Ayton to Boston. They just swap Horford and Ayton for a few picks. I thought that would be kind of interesting in Boston. You put DeAndre Ayton. I mean, he's not great, but I think it'd be.
If you're Phoenix, are you really just taking Horford and picks for DeAndre Ayton though?
But yeah, have you heard Phoenix though, man? Phoenix fans have just been all up about.
Phoenix is so close too. It seems like.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm just saying. I saw that rumor and I was like, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
But no, I to go back to the series, man, I think what we did see though is I think, and this is my opinion, the Heat should have finished this in 4 or 5 games because now you have a very rested Nuggets team waiting for you, like a very rested Nuggets team with
for sure.
firepower. And what are you going to do? Like, my question is, who are you putting on Nikola Jokic the whole time? He can stretch the floor. Are you putting Bam Adebayo on him the whole game? Because you take Bam out of the middle, then you got Michael Porter Jr., you got Aaron Gordon, you have all these other dudes that are going to be in the middle of that pack. So after this series, I think I saw some, I guess, liabilities, I think, on the Heat in the sense of, are you going to put Kevin Love on Nikola Jokic so that way you have Bam Adebayo underneath? Like, who is going to be on Jokic? Because that's the key. If you can slow him down, I'm not saying stop him, kind of with LeBron James, like you slow him down enough to allow the other things to kind of happen in place. So I think that's going to be a really interesting point. I know I've jumped ahead here, but yeah, I guess that's what I noticed from the Celtics series was just there was a lot of kind of, I think you could tell this team is a very inexperienced team in the Heat outside of Butler and outside of Kevin Love and Lowry and these guys and Bam Adebayo. But outside of those four, it's a very young and raw team, and I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean that's the question that I was asking last week is how do you defend Jokic? Do you take Bam out of the paint? I don't know how much he hangs
Yeah,
out around the 3-point line, but maybe the other school of thought is let Jokic get his and then just contain Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. I mean that's a big reason too why Denver's been able to make this run is because Jamal Murray's been absolutely balling out. And maybe you just, I guess, force Jokic to do it all himself. But I mean he's the league MVP and he's more than capable of doing it,
yeah.
walking triple double. So
I mean,
it's
he
going to be
should he
interesting
should
to
have
see how they defend that guy.
he should have won it this year too. By the way, that was just they didn't want to give a guy three. They didn't want to give a white guy three in a row. I think that's just I hate to
They
say
gave
it.
Nash two, and
That's the
then that
thing.
was it. They
I
gave Jokic two,
I
and that
just
was
I hate to say that because it sounds like I'm not trying to be like the R word, but I'm just being honest. Like I don't think they wanted to give it to a European dude that's 7 foot tall that has no social media whatsoever and is just kind of like a dull person, in a sense. Um, but yeah, it is fascinating, man. And I think this series to me comes down, and I think we'll talk about it now. I know when this comes out, it's probably come out on Friday, so it'll be out.
game one will be done
Yeah,
by
game one
then.
will be done. But as you look at this series, Josh, what do you think are the keys to victory for the Heat and for the Nuggets? Maybe give like two for each. Like what are some things you think that Heat have to do and what the Nuggets have to do to either one of these teams to come away with a title?
Yeah, I think if you're Miami, sticking to what has worked is going to be the big key. They've been tested and they've been winning games by being
Yeah.
gritty, hitting threes, and Jimmy Butler leading the way. So I think you got to continue
Yeah, I
with
agree.
that path. And then if you're Denver, I'd say just continue what you're doing with Jokic. We're gonna find out what they're really made of. It's funny to say that since they're playing an 8 seed,
I
but
know.
they've only played an 8 seed, a 5 seed, and a 7 seed so far. But maybe Miami's better than what we thought just based on the injuries that they've dealt with this
Yeah.
season. Maybe they would have been a higher seed if they didn't have all the injuries to deal with. But yeah, if you're Miami, I mean, I'd or not Miami. If you're Denver, yeah, play through Jokic like you have been. If you can contain Jimmy and force some of these other
That's gonna be
guys to
hard.
get more involved, that could help you out
Yeah.
too. Make Bam Adebayo really have to work defensively too.
Yeah.
Just stretch that floor out and take advantage of the mismatches that it could cause.
Yeah. I think one of the big things I think for Denver is can you replicate what you've been able to do with Murray and Jokic? And what I mean by that, and it seems like a very, well, that's a common thing to say, Ben. But I mean that in general. Like if you can replicate what's been happening, like you said, but I think also adding in things that need to happen. What I notice is that near the end of this past series, and throughout the playoffs, it's mainly been Jokic and Murray. You need to have some guys, maybe Murray has an off night, or maybe even if Murray doesn't have an off night, have like maybe three dudes combined for 85 points, not just two dudes combining for all this offense. I think you need to have an X factor at some point. You need to have a guy, whether that's Michael Porter Jr., whether that's Aaron Gordon, whether that's I'm kind of thinking of some of the other guys off their bench. Jeff Green, some of these other dudes that just come out of nowhere and make that shot. What have we noticed about the playoffs, man? we've always noticed about this in the finals, at least the Cavs series, when the Warriors have won, when the Bucks have won, it's always that guy that we don't really expect that has a kind of coming out party. And so that for me is a big thing for the Nuggets. I think for the Heat is who else? And that's literally my thing is who else? Because listen, you know what you're going to get with Jimmy Butler. You'll get a guy that's going to drop 35, 40 points in a game. What are you getting out of Kevin Love? We don't know. Is it going to be the 10, 12 point Kevin Love, or is it going to be the 4 point Kevin Love that barely does anything on the offense or defensive end of the ball? Bam Adebayo. What he's going to do with Jokic? What is he going to do with Jokic? Like, is he going to be able to do offense? Are they going to give him the ball at all? Or is he just going to be kind of the dude that's just taking control of Jokic? And the same thing with that is who's going to be out there? Is Hero going to be that guy? Is Robinson going to be that guy? Is Martin going to be that guy? That's why I'm saying who else. And that's why I believe the biggest X factor of this team is Kyle Lowry. That is the biggest X factor on this team, because if you can get a solid point guard, a solid kind of overall leader of the team outside of Jimmy Butler, awesome. The question is, who else?
Saw something. I think Kyle Lowry, when he's on the floor, the Heat are plus 26 for like the plus minus category, which
points
is just
made.
Insane.
Points
and he's
made.
not even necessarily doing all that scoring.
No, he's not.
Just they're playing well with him on the court. He's doing really well at being a floor general.
We've proven it's proven that Jimmy Butler is not a point guard guy. So let's just not give him the ball as the point guard. Just saying.
Sure. And the other thing, I guess, since you brought him up, Tyler Hero, he hasn't played since April 16th in that Bucks series.
That's true.
If they do bring him back, is he going to disrupt the chemistry and flow of the offense that they've, I guess, created over these last couple series, or is he going to be able to strengthen it?
Yeah.
Because during the regular season, he was averaging 20 points, shooting, let me tell you here, threes, because, I mean, Hero is one of those guys that loves to shoot threes for Miami, shooting 37% from three. I think that's a guy that Miami could use. But
and
again,
is Caleb Martin going to give you anything?
Things.
Is Caleb Martin going to give you the 20 and 10, or is he going to give you the guy that is going to be like Joel Embiid and give you like 9 and 8 because he kind of chokes, right? Like, and so I think I hate to say this. I chose the Nuggets last week, and I'm going to still stick with the Nuggets. I cannot see the Heat beating this Nuggets team 4 games. I physically can't in my mind imagine this Heat team right now, because it's different than the Bucks team. Like, I think this Nuggets team is way better than the Bucks team. I think this Nuggets team is better than any team that the Miami Heat's faced in these playoffs right now. I would take the Nuggets over any of those teams. So as the Nuggets are right now. So to me, I think it's going to end up, I think the final series tally will be Nuggets in 6. I think it's going to be like a 4-2 series win.
I'm giving Nuggets in 6-2, but man, I'll be rooting for Miami. I want Jimmy Butler to have a ring so bad.
I do. I know, but I also want Nikola Jokic to get one, just for the fact, like, dude, he's like the most basic human being we've ever seen play in the NBA. The dude loves horses, man. He doesn't even care about Instagram, nothing. He just wants to hang out with his horses and his brothers and just chill. Like, the most chill human I think you'll ever meet.
Man. Yeah, so that's not going to conclude our NBA talk today either, Ben. So last week we ranked some MLB logos, gave our top 5.
Oh, are we doing another top 5 this week? Another top 5?
Shifting over to the NBA top 5 logos.
Oh, boy.
And I think we're going to have a lot more of a challenge with this one,
it is a challenge
for different reasons. The MLB ones, there was a lot of boring ones, and in the NBA, like, almost everybody has a pretty cool logo of some kind. So I'm curious how similar we're going to be with these.
Yeah,
we didn't really have many of the same last week.
No, we didn't. It was very, very ugly. So yeah, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll start off with my 5th, and I'll also throw out an honorable mention too.
Of course you do. Josh is the king for honorable mentions.
I have to give an honorable mention out to the Los Angeles Lakers. I love the color scheme of the purple and gold, but the basketball with just the word Lakers on it is too boring to crack the top 5. So it is.
Is it because of the classic?
6.
It's got the classic nod.
Yeah, and the color scheme, it's great. But
that's true.
For those reasons, it's only 6. But number 5, the real number 5 is going to be the Toronto Raptors. And if this was the old school, like, pink dinosaur raptor logo, it probably would have been higher. But the new one, it's not bad, but it's just not as good as the old one. But still a really solid logo with like the dinosaur like claw like scraping
Claw. Yeah,
across the
yeah.
basketball. I love it. So Toronto Raptors at number 5.
I'm gonna go. So on my list here at number 5, and I'll throw an honorable mention because you did, because then I feel weird that I didn't throw an honorable mention in. I'm gonna like for me, I think I'm gonna go honorable mention, and this is more of I don't think it's cool enough to be the top 5, but I still think it's pretty slick. And I'm gonna actually go the Houston Rockets for me. Like I felt the Houston Rockets were not for me. It's not like a really cool logo that's like, man, that thing just makes me want to root for this team. But if you look at it, you spend time looking at it, Houston Rockets, but then it's got the R with it's like in a rocket formation if you kind of look at it closely. So for me, it's like it's right there. It's right on the edge. But to me, I can't go with it in the top 5. But number 5 for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm really off on this one, and this one you might think should be higher. I don't really know. I'm terrible at doing this. I'm gonna go Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks at number 5 for me. I think the green and tan color palette is awesome. Like I just think that color combination. You think of Wisconsin, you think of kind of the up north with the forest, that green. You have the obviously the buck, the deer that's just prominent in the logo, and then you have that that real classic. If you look subtly, you have obviously the details with the tan on the background, and then it just looks really nice on a jersey as well when they do their like all black jersey with the logo. To me, that's a top 5 logo for sure. And I always pick them in NBA 2K, so that's like always my team I do my franchise with. So
Man, I thought about throwing the Bucks up here too, but and this, I mean, it looks exactly like what their mascot's supposed to be, a buck, right? But
exactly.
still, like when I see it, the first thing I think of is John Deere tractors for some reason. Even though the John Deere track or like deer isn't that color or that shape, it's just like when you see deer, it's like, oh, John Deere, but no,
Or-
Milwaukee Bucks.
how do you know people are from Ohio when that's what we come to our mind with? That's how you know we're
That's
from
what we
Ohio.
think. Yeah. Um, Number 4 for me, though, you already basically said everything that I could have said about this team. It's the Houston Rockets.
Really?
hmm
No, really.
I
Oh,
really like
interesting.
the logo, the rocket shaped R there. And then, I mean, this doesn't really have anything to do with the logo, but Houston Rockets, like Houston, we have a problem. The
Oh my
space
gosh.
station over there
Stop.
and everything,
Stop.
it's like perfect branding. And I love that for teams when their mascot actually matches the city. And like I said, that's not do with the logo. I think the logo is cool as it is, but yeah, Houston Rockets at number 4. But that's uh that's a little bit of a bias there from me too, maybe. But
And
you were almost there,
I
so
was
it's
almost
I don't
there.
think it's
Yeah,
too
I was
far
there. I
off.
was close. Yeah, I was close. Now here's my historical, only really true historic. I feel is more historical in my mind base. And I'm gonna go the Boston Celtics at 4. Like I just
Mm.
think you can't like if the Celtics leprechaun is he a leprechaun? I don't know, or Celtic is it a leprechaun? I
Yeah,
don't.
like if we're talking about true Celtics, we're talking about like British Warriors, dude, from like
Okay, but the
BC
logo
days.
itself. Okay, the leprechaun that's on
It
the
looks more
logo.
like a
Yeah,
leprechaun, and I mean the clover's even in there and
yeah.
stuff. So yeah,
So,
I'd say more
anyways,
like that.
I love it because again I'm a bit like green's my favorite color, so that kind of helps me a little bit here.
Oh,
But I
Milwaukee
love,
Bucks, Boston
but the
Celtics.
thing is, I love the way they've kind of played off that like historical vibe. But when you look at it, and even the newer way they write Celtics with the gold trim, they've kind of made it into a modern vibe. But I love the way the old logo looks on the court. Obviously, the way it looks on the jerseys or the warm ups, the clover leaf. To me, I think the Bostic have a really good 1-2 punch with the classic logo and then the new, clover leaf logo as well. That's my number 4.
That is a solid pick there. Number 3 for me, I'm rocking Chicago Bulls.
Ooh, I knew that was going to be in there.
That one's just too tough for me, man. Like it's a very detailed bull. The red and black is just some tough looking colors. And then just I mean it's one of those that has stayed solid and beaten the test of time too. Like it really hasn't
Yeah.
changed since the Michael Jordan days or even pre-Michael Jordan days. And it's still to me like one of the best logos. So it passes the test of time too, which is a bonus points and bumps up to number 3 for me.
Yeah, you see, I was going to put the Bulls in there, but to me, I felt like That's a thing for me. Like I need to see a little bit of change. Like if we're gonna, and I think with the Celtics, we've seen some like additions to kind of what it looks
We've
like.
seen it modernized, as you
But
said.
the
Yes.
Bulls we've seen look the exact same for pretty much 50 years or whatever. To
Hey, when you nail
me,
it on the first try, you don't need to
hey,
change it,
you know
right?
what? I know, but I gotta look for some change, some grittiness here, and that's why I think for me, number number three? I'm at number
Number
three.
three.
Yes, for me, number three, and I think it's the way they've kind of done it in the sense of, um, I guess the way they've done it because it's a new team. I guess it's a new team that replaced an old team would be the Pelicans. I think New Orleans Pelicans. I think the Pelican
Mm,
itself looks so dope. Like I just think like if you look at it, I'm looking at it right now. The whole
me
basketball
too.
in its mouth, it looks really cool. And if you think about it, just in general, like we haven't seen a logo that's really like a full animal in a logo in basketball. Like we've seen heads of
We've
animals,
seen heads.
but
We've seen
this is legit the whole
claws. Yeah.
pelican. And to me, I just think it's really cool that they've kind of incorporated the pelican and then the color wheel of like this tan with this blue, this red. If you look at some of the alternate jerseys they have, they're so cool, and the logo fits with each one of them. To me, I think the Pelicans have the third best logo in the NBA, and that's just
Mm.
again, I think off of something new, but they've obviously when they switched to from the Charlotte Bobcats, no, not Bobcats, sorry, who were they before?
Charlotte Hornets.
They were Hornets, yes. So when they switched from the Hornets, that was for me like New Orleans Hornets. That was for me was I think a very good upgrade.
Man, I was with you on the Bucks and Celtics. You lost me on the Pelicans one. I
It's
can't
okay.
get on board with that, but it's
It's
your
okay.
list, not mine. So number
My
two
dad
for
will my
me.
dad will make fun of that one for sure.
Number two for me. I think this one's kind of like a wild card pick too. But what do you think of the Sacramento Kings? The basketball with the crown on it, the font that they use. I'm also a big fan of purple, which is why I love the Lakers purple and gold.
Wait,
But the
wait,
Kings,
wait,
like we're
hold
talking
on.
about modern changes, like you know what the Sacramento Kings logo used to look like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
it's
know. I know.
gone through a huge upgrade
So
over the years.
so you thought mine was a little off with the Pelicans. Now I'm starting to think like, dude,
I'm
I
waiting.
listen, I get the Kings could be in the top five. I definitely see them in the top five, like, but I think more of like five spot. I would rather see you put the Lakers at like two or the Bulls at two. The to me, the Kings again, the vibe for me, again, maybe it's just because I hate purple. But the vibe
It
for
could
me,
be.
I think it's so basic in the sense they just put basically big letters on top of a half basketball and then put a crown on top.
Even this, I know this doesn't count as like their main, like into my argument, but the secondary logo too is like the lion, like with
Oh,
its
geez.
mane coming into a basketball.
I
And
mean, you're on the mark. You're there. It's like you're driving in, but you haven't really reached the side of the road yet. That's kind of feel like where you're at. You're kind of almost there. Like I feel like this one's more of like a five or an honorable mention. But again, that's your list, as you said. It's your list. Do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you. Oh, is it my? Yeah, it's my turn, right? Two,
your turn, number
two for
two.
me. And this was hard. My top two were freaking hard to figure out in my
It
head.
is like number one was like a no-brainer for me, but trying to rank two through five was the
So
toughest part.
for me, number two, I
Man.
this thing I'm still tossed in my head. Like I haven't actually decided completely yet. Two for me, I think because of the modernization of it, I'm gonna go the I hate that I'm saying this, but I'm gonna go the Philadelphia 76ers for me.
You're gonna have to explain that one because that's just a basketball with 76 on it.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking historically 76ers and what 76 means historically. And for me, as a history nerd, now this probably goes right back to what I was saying about your Kings pick, because now I'm double guessing myself. Um, but for me, I think the historical connection with Philly itself and the city of Philadelphia and what Philadelphia has meant in the history of the United States. To be honest, I like it a lot better than their old logo.
I was just looking up the old one to see how far it has come,
It's
and it
bad.
has gone through an upgrade.
Yes, it is
Definitely.
bad. The old one's bad. And I like the simplicity of the 7 and 6, right? They're separate colors, but then obviously the rings around which kind of represent that back during that time. And I think it looks really slick on the different colors that they have, the red when they change the colors up to 76 and everything like that. And I think 76ers is just such an interesting name of a team that I think it adds that extra flair for the 76ers at number 2. Now, I will say one of the teams that I was considering to put in my top 5 that I didn't, and maybe this is your number 1, but one of those teams I was considering putting in the top 5 was there's 2 teams that I didn't even make honorable mention. Was the Cavaliers was one, and for me the where was the other one? Hold on, I have it on my list. And Raptors were my other one that was kind of like debating to put it in my top 5.
Dude, we might have the same number 1.
Dude, are we?
Because that was neither of them. Let's say it at the same time.
Oh, this is
after
gonna be bad.
3.
Oh, this is
We're
gonna
gonna
be
go
bad.
1,
So
2, 3,
after
and then
3
say
or
the
on
team.
3? After 3.
After 3, so it's gonna be 1, 2, 3,
and then we say
name.
Got it. Okay, here we
All
go.
right. 1, 2, 3, Heat.
Nuggets.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't this ironic? Wow.
Dude,
You went
the
Heat
Miami
on that.
Heat logo to me, it's like a no-brainer, like top logo for me.
Dude, look
Just
at the
the
Nuggets,
basketball flame with the ring around it, and then when you also bring out the city edition, Miami Vice color scheme with that logo, like there's nothing that beats it.
Dude, look
But
at the
Denver
Nuggets logo right
Nuggets,
now.
though.
Look at it right now. Look at
I'm looking at it.
the new Nuggets logo. It's pretty dope. Compared to their old one, that was crap. It was just basically a mountain on top of Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have come a long way.
But the Nuggets one looks
like we were
really
saying,
good.
But
The whole like gold, the pickaxes for me, and the color scheme of white and gold because of the Nuggets. Obviously gold Nuggets. Then you have the whole idea behind their city jerseys are also legit. If you've ever seen their city jerseys, those are also really cool. But the Heat, I actually never even thought of the Heat to put them in the top. I think I just never have connected with that Heat logo. I didn't really like the Vice jerseys, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. But yeah, that's a big. I'm actually shocked that we chose both finals teams as our top.
And I'm also
pick.
shocked that we didn't have a single common team in the top 5. Like the closest we got was your honorable mention being the Rockets, and I had the Rockets at 4.
I am shocked that neither of us had the Cavaliers because they've also come a long way. Didn't want to be biased. That's why I also didn't put them in.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because to be honest, the Cavaliers' new logo is a lot cleaner than what it used to be. I think it's a lot cleaner.
You're talking about compared to like the basketball with the sword through it. Yeah. All right. Well, NBA top 5 logos.
I'm glad we both did. I'm glad neither of us put the Trailblazers because I think we both should have just quit at that list.
If we were going top 5 worst logos, that'd be number 1, honestly.
Oh, dude, that is the ugliest.
Blazers,
that is the ugliest logo
1.
of all time.
Yeah.
There's no creativity in that at all. Even the Pistons logo has at least something going on with it, or the Magic.
Yeah, it's tough to work with the Magic.
By the way, if you want below, if you're listening below, if you want us to do like a worst after we do all these best ones, please let us know because we love doing this because it's just fun. It's just fun to like joke around with each other. So feel free to let us know in the comments if you like this. There will be there will be a chance as we're recording this. I've been making graphics, so at some point through the summer, especially if we have dead periods where Josh is doing something on vacation or I'm not able to record, then I'm going to be posting graphics at some point throughout the summer of the different top 5s we've done. So let's see, what have we done so far? We've
just done baseball, and now we've done. Oh, you're talking about overall top 5s?
All 5. So we did baseball.
We've done baseball concessions. We've done sports movies.
Yep.
We've done the baseball logos.
And now this one.
Now the NBA logos, and
that's
we'll probably knock out the NHL logos.
Oh, and we did the top 5 most exciting draft picks for the Browns. That was the other one.
Yes, top 5 picks you're most excited about for the Cleveland Browns. Yes.
See, I remember these things. But anyways, that's enough with the fun talk. We're back to seriousness, right, Josh? Because that's what we're
back
here.
To serious talk because we have to talk serious World Series contenders in baseball. Now that today will mark 2 months. Yeah, 2 months into the MLB season as of today. Teams are starting to separate, show who they are, build an identity. And I think at this point we can really start seriously talking about World Series contenders.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you went about it, but I got a couple that I like in the American League that I think could make a run, and a couple in the National League that I think could
Yep.
make a run.
I'm with you. Same thing. Obviously, my first choice will be the Oakland Athletics. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, people. I'm kidding,
The
people.
12-45 Oakland
They're
Athletics back
just
24
sick.
games out of first place.
Oh,
A
that just
negative
hurts, man.
193 run differential.
Oh,
Man, I didn't even realize it was that bad until I read it out loud. You want to
dude,
know who's in
it's.
second place? Like, just to show you how bad the Oakland Athletics bad is.
Do I even want to know?
The Kansas City Royals have a negative 70 run differential. So the A's have them beat by 123 runs.
Yeah, jeez.
I can't even
Oh,
believe it, dude.
goodness.
Like, they're almost at 200, and there's not even another team at 100. Wow.
Oh boy.
Oh, but speaking of like serious contenders, number one for me out of the American League, Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Couple reasons for that. I believe they're the only team right now in all of baseball that has reached the 40-win mark. And since
Correct.
we were just talking about great run differentials there, they also are the only team with a run differential over 100. It's 109, or actually, excuse me. There's another team that's over 100 that we'll be talking about as well, or at least I'll be talking about. But Tampa Bay second in run differential, 119. So they're not only scoring a lot of runs, they're also limiting teams' ability to score runs. They got a lot of talent on this team that's been breaking out. I heard this stat the other day about Yandy Diaz, former Cleveland Indian, has 12 home runs this season already after hitting just 9 last year. They got several guys on this team that are hitting pretty high in batting average. Diaz leading the way, hitting 320. You got Wander Franco hitting 298, Randy Arozarena 297. Like, it's a really solid overall lineup, both at the plate and on the mound. I think Tampa Bay is one of the most balanced teams. And for me, I got them as my top contender out of the American League right now.
I'm going to stick with it, man. I think Tampa Bay has just proven, I think, throughout. Now it's getting a little tighter. Obviously, the AL East is just freaking stupid. We won't even talk about it. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, at some point, but let's not talk about it now because it just annoys me. Um, uh, you think about the Rays and what they're doing, the way they started. Now, obviously, they've slowed down. We all knew that was going to happen. We both have talked about it. Like we knew
They
it
couldn't
wasn't going to
go
stay. Yeah, yeah.
162-0.
Yeah. But the way they've pitched the ball really well. I mean, obviously they've lost some pitchers to injuries, which is kind of think hurt them a little bit. So yeah, I think in general, I think this team, they're hitting well, they're pitching well, and I think at the end of the day, if you're hitting and pitching well and you're taking care of business when you have to against the teams you have to beat, and you should beat, then I think they're going to be a legit contender by the end of the year.
Number two for me, got to go to the team with the top run differential in all of baseball, and that's the Texas Rangers. This was a team last year that I said could be a sleeper, and it
You
turned
did.
out I was just a year off. But pitching staff's been interesting. With Jacob deGrom over there, he hasn't exactly been we haven't seen his best stuff, I feel like, just yet, but coming around. You also got Eovaldi, former Boston Red Sox there. I also believe that John Gray's over there. So it's a lineup that or a rotation, I should say, that maybe we didn't see coming, but has been pretty strong. And then at the plate, we got a couple other guys that I didn't see coming, like Corey Seager's not necessarily leading the charge here at the plate, but it's guys like Marcus Simeon, dudes like what's his name here leading the team in home runs. I gotta make sure I say his name right. It's not a super hard one, but it's Adolis Garcia. It could be
He's a
Adolis
stud.
or
Yeah, he's a
Adolis.
stud.
Yeah. 14 home runs, 49 RBIs, which leads all of baseball, that RBI stat. So Texas, maybe one of those teams that nobody thought would be dominating at this level, but find themselves at second place in the American League, or tied for second in the American League with the Baltimore Orioles.
Now, you never thought I would say this, that I think is going to be a very legit World Series contender. Now, obviously, it's the Cleveland. I'm kidding. It's not Cleveland Guardians. No, it's for me, it's the Baltimore Orioles. You just said them, and I legit believe in this team. You look at some of their stats. I mean, Mountcastle's having a great year. You know, hit 11 home runs, 38 RBIs, hitting. You know, he's not hitting great. He's not getting on base, but hey, he's your power bat. You have Adley Rutschman, who we all know what he can do. I mean, the dude's he's a freak. Fun fact, if you didn't know, he was a kicker in college for the football team. Fun fact.
How about that?
Then you have Cedric Mullins, who has just been stealing bases as best he can. You have Santander, who's hitting the ball well. Hayes is hitting the ball well. You have Frazier. Mateo has not been, he's slowed down a little bit, but he's still, hitting the ball pretty well. You got Henderson as well. Their pitching as well has been pretty elite. I mean, they have 2 relievers, by the way, that are just freaking studs. I don't even remember their names off the top of my head. I'm looking here. They have, I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, Bautista's one of them, and Cano. These 2 dudes have got combined ERA of like 138 or something like that. It's legit. So I think that the Orioles have a good team to take a long run. They're young. They got some veterans, but they're young, and I think they're going to take a long way.
Yeah, I definitely hear the argument for Baltimore. I guess just for me right now, with as tough as the division is and how young they are, I gotta, I guess, see them maybe go through a little bit more,
Yeah.
maybe play a little bit more teams in that division before I'd be able to hop on board. One other team that I like in the American League, and this is because they've done it before over and over again, is the Houston Astros. I don't know how you can't or how you could rule Houston out even
Yeah.
at this point. They haven't had everybody hitting the ball well yet.
They haven't been
Alex
healthy.
Bregman. Yeah, like Alex Bregman's been struggling, Jeremy Payne has been struggling, Jose Abreu's been struggling. But thank goodness they still have Yordan Alvarez, Jose
It's a stud.
Altuve.
Yeah.
Like it's such a good lineup, and Tucker out in the outfield. And then on the mound, even losing Justin Verlander last year, like you still got Framber Valdez, who I would trust in any big game to get the win there. Christian Javier is super solid too, and they're in second place right now to Texas Rangers. But I don't think Houston's played their best baseball yet, and that's
No.
another reason why I'm kind of, I guess, holding out and believing in them, because I've seen them do it before. And once all these guys get in the swing of things, and once they get healthy, like you said, watch out for Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Angels, but we all know they have the 2 best players in baseball, and yet they're still not going to win any games. So no, I'm going to say the Yankees. I mean, you just can't go against the Yankees. You have to keep them in that. You have Aaron Judge. He's right now, I think, the best player right now in baseball. If you look at what he's doing at the plate, and by the way, he has 1 less home run than he did last year at this time, and he's been on the DL already. So if that shows you what he's doing with the bat, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, I think there's that. I saw him tear up the Reds, which is mind-boggling. But anyways, that's what I got. So Josh, what do we got for the National League?
For the National League, I am
NL Central, man, loaded with some very quality teams.
Yeah. Central.
The Reds are in 3rd place.
So maybe this isn't the team that I'm the most high on in the National League, but it's maybe a low-key a dark horse I didn't see coming, and it's the Dodgers, honestly.
Yeah.
With how much they lost in the offseason. They didn't necessarily make many splash signs, but they've had a couple unexpected surprises, such as Max Muncy just balling out this year, and JD Martinez has been a solid addition. Will Smith is continuing to do what he's doing at catcher. Freddie Freeman continues to dominate, hitting 344. Mookie Betts taking a little while to get going, hitting only 249 right now as we speak, but 11 home runs, so still contributing at the plate. Then on the mound, I mean, Clayton Kershaw's still doing it, dude. And you still got Julio Urias, and you still got Dustin May, and you still got Tony Gonsolin. So it's like, even when they lost guys like Justin Turner, you lose guys like Cody Bellinger, and I thought there was another big guy that they lost from last year's team. Name escapes me right now, but they didn't have one of the most exciting off seasons either. And here they are, first place in that National League West still to this day. So still saying, got to watch out for the Dodgers.
Is it sad that I look at this National League and go, there's no teams that I'm like, ooh, they have a chance?
That's what's tough about it. Is like, I don't even know if like the Dodgers would be my one, but
no, it's just
not a whole lot out there. Like the American League, honestly, I like 5 teams in the American League.
I look at the American League and go, you're winning the World Series this year. Whoever comes out of the NL has no chance. No, I'm going to go Cincinnati. I'm kidding. No, I'm going to go Arizona Diamondbacks is one of mine. I think it's another dark horse. I think no one saw coming necessarily. I don't think anybody saw the Diamondbacks being the way they are. They've been hitting the ball really well. Their pitching has been surprising to me of how they've pitched. Right now they're only a game and a half back of the Dodgers for first place. They're like 4 games up in the wild card, so like they're in a great spot to make the playoffs, and I think to make a run. They just have to keep this up, and hopefully the young guys don't kind of tire out in that sense. So yeah, that for me, it's Arizona. I think it's just another dark horse kind of candidate.
Second team, and there's only really 2 teams right now that I like
Yeah,
out of the
same.
National
I
League,
agree.
and the other one's the Atlanta Braves, and maybe you're on par with that too. But Ronald Acuna Jr. been playing at an MVP level. You still got guys out here like Austin Riley, Sean Murphy behind the plate playing really well. On the mound, Spencer Strider's just striking out everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel like the Braves kind of this way with the Astros. I said too. I feel like they haven't even like reached their I guess their stride yet. Like they've still been winning despite not playing their best baseball yet. And once they start doing that, it's just going to be super scary to see.
Yeah, I have the Braves with you as well. I think the Braves are just a team that terrifies you when you look at that team, and like the potential of the team terrifies you. Again, the honorable mention for me is obviously the Dodgers. I can't count them out, but for me, the Braves, the way their pitching's been pitching, I mean, Strider scares me. I mean, he has a mustache that scares me, and then his pants are so tight that he looks like he's just going to rip them out because
Yeah,
his
the
legs
man
are
does not skip
jacked.
leg day.
So for me, it's the Braves as well.
Yeah, it's just like Michael Harris, one of their stud rookies last year, hitting 179 right now.
Yeah.
Marcelo Zuna hitting 219. Eddie Rosario 238. Matt Olson 238. Ozzy Albies 251. Like they're still first place in that division despite all that. And I feel like half of those guys at least are going to come around. And once they do, yeah, exactly. Watch out for that Atlanta Braves.
That's
And I
true.
really don't have a third team that I like
Same.
out of the National League. It's like Milwaukee's winning the Central, but they're only 2 games above 500. The Mets, as loaded as they are, I feel like they've been underachieving. I have to see a little bit more from Arizona before I could be fully convinced. San Diego and Philadelphia,
It's
super
been
loaded,
trash.
super underachieving. Yeah, not been pretty. So
No.
National League, I feel like some of those teams are going to have to get it together here. But the American League looks loaded, like we said. If I had to pick like straight up, like 5 teams, regardless
Ooh, that'd be
of
hard.
like National League, American League, it'd probably be like Tampa Bay. It'd probably be Texas, and the Dodgers might be the only team cracking from the
That's true.
National League because Baltimore's got that argument, Astros
Yankees.
got that argument, Yankees got that argument, and then maybe the Braves are the 6th or 7th team, you'd
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
So
It's crazy.
crazy stuff, man. But yeah, baseball. It's gonna be an interesting summer here. We're
Also,
gonna
don't
find
forget to
out.
vote. Also, don't forget to vote. Voting started today as we're recording this. So don't forget to vote for your all-star team.
Mm.
Vote Joey Votto, paying him 25 million to sit on the bench.
Will more Cleveland Indians make the All-Star team, or will more Cincinnati
Reds.
Reds?
I think Reds this year. I legit think because there's so many younger dudes like McLean. I'm not saying he's going to get a chance. I think out of the Reds, I think the most legit chance you're going to have Hunter Green, possibly just because he's a dude that throws 104. I think you'll see Diaz, the closer, has a good chance of making it for the Reds, and then maybe like 2 or 3 dudes on the offense that just have a chance. Like I'm not saying we'll make it. I think the Guardians have a chance. I think maybe to have more guys make it, but I think the Reds have a bigger pool of dudes. You're like, I've never heard of him, but he's having a good year, so let's take him.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know who I'd want to vote for out of Cleveland besides Jose Ramirez because like Josh Bell, no. Josh Naylor, no.
Dude, you're catchers, man.
Andres Jimenez, no Cleveland catcher. No Stephen Kwan, which has been a surprise.
Wait, what's wrong
Not
with your catchers, man? Your catchers are great. They do amazing.
they can't hit 200. And even starting pitchers, dude, like we have a lot of I mean, the ERA I think is 10th overall in baseball, but there's not really one dominant starter. They've all
Yeah,
been inconsistent. So
that's
that's going to
true.
be interesting. But that pretty much sums up our baseball talk, and we have a little bit of football discussion
Yep.
here just with DeAndre Hopkins
Finish of
is
the
officially
show.
cut now,
Yes.
officially on the market now.
Yes.
There's been some teams that have been reaching out. Some teams have been loud about their pursuit of him. Uh, gonna go ahead and discuss teams that we think would be a good fit, and perhaps teams that could be elevated by adding the guy.
Do we want to be
It's tough to
realistic or
say.
not realistic?
Well, I'm going kind of like
Yeah, I know
realistic
I
here.
am too.
Like I think that for example, does he make the Kansas City Chiefs that much better? I don't know. But does he fill a need of like a
Yeah,
big
100%.
receiver that can go
Yeah.
up and make jump balls? Yes. So that could help Patrick
That's
Mahomes, but I don't
scary,
think it's
actually.
going to make a I
No.
don't think it'd make a difference for Kansas City's overall record
No.
and their success in the playoffs, whether they get DeAndre
I
Hopkins or
think
not.
for me, I think one team, and I know this is going to sound like, oh, biased. I don't care.
Let's go because I'm
It's
on board with you. It's
Cleveland
got to be the
Browns.
Cleveland Browns,
It-
right?
This is this is the
The
this is the
super
most
best fit.
He doesn't need money. He's getting paid 15 million this year no matter what. He doesn't need the money. He knows that. Listen, he goes to Cleveland. He reunites with a guy that he had his best years with in
Yep.
Deshaun Watson. You have Amari Cooper on the other side, which is going to keep you're not going to be able to just put him on Hopkins. You're going to have one-on-one with
Yep.
Hopkins. Oh, and by the way, I don't know. You have Njoku at tight end, who can also
Njoku
move
tight
out
end,
to
Elijah
slot.
Moore in the slot.
Yep, Elijah Moore in the slot. Oh, and by the way, I don't know. You have a running game that's just built like a tank engine. So at the end of the day, if you look at all the teams that he's eligible to go play for, look at all the teams. You look at Kansas City, their run game's okay. They don't really have a second option like outside of Kelsey. They don't really have a second receiver that you're like scared of. But you look at the Browns, Nick Chubb, dominant, right? Offensive line, dominant. You have a quarterback who's finally going to have a year where he can play and develop in the Brown system. Then you have, like you said, Elijah Moore in the slot. You have, by the way, Donovan Peoples-Jones as a fourth option. And then you have Amari Cooper in the at number
Goodwin,
2.
Cedric Tillman, the rookie.
And then even you take that away, and then you have Njoku at tight end. You tell me as a defense, what are you going to do? You going to play zone? You want them to beat you you want to beat them over the middle? Do you want to play man and get beat down the seams? Like, right? Like at the end of the day, if Hopkins really wants to win a Super Bowl, and I'm saying this 100%, if he wants to win a Super Bowl, you go where you're not only going to be effective, but you're going to have a chance to dominate with your team. I would not be shocked if he goes to Cleveland. There will be at least 2 receivers with 1,000 yards, at least. Maybe a third one in Njoku.
Let me also further plead my case for Cleveland Browns to go and get DeAndre Hopkins. If let's just say you don't sign Hopkins and Amari Cooper gets injured in the season, which he has in the past, just coming off an abdominal surgery. How comfortable are you throwing out Elijah Moore and Donovan Peoples-Jones as your 1 and 2 receivers? You. And then your third and fourth options are like David Bell and Anthony Schwartz. Double you. Furthermore, DeAndre Hopkins, Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, how many wide receiver rooms are stronger than that? I would hear arguments for the Eagles. Dolphins. I would hear arguments for the 49ers. I would hear arguments for the Bengals, and that's about it.
Dolphins actually have a legit room too as well.
It's true. Waddle and Tyreek Hill are a really solid duo. But I mean, you're joining that company right there.
Yeah.
You're not really deep right now. And by adding one guy, like putting Donovan Peoples-Jones at wide receiver 4, I like that a lot better than wide receiver 2.
First off, Arizona was stupid to not trade him because now you're paying him money plus you get nothing in return.
All they had to do was wait a few days.
Yes. And now you have 15 million on the docket. And if you're Hopkins, like that's the thing. People think, well, he's going to go to the best team. Like, I get what your point is, but he doesn't need the money. He's getting paid 15 million no matter what this year. So,
and even if that was a concern, Cleveland's going to have, I think, 18 million.
Yeah, they'll have 18 million cap space. Yeah. And this is the thing. If Hopkins for some reason goes to Cleveland, do not be shocked if you don't see Amari Cooper the year after. Do not be shocked. Because I think listen, I think they're about the same age. I think DeAndre might be a little bit older than Amari. They're close to the same age. Let's be honest. DeAndre Hopkins has had a lot less injuries than Amari Cooper. And the thing is, you know what scares me about this offense, man? Dude, you have a run game with a Nick Chubb that can run for 1,600 yards, and then you have 2 1,000-yard receivers. Dude, that's terrifying. Like, what do you do as a defense? Like, hey, let's drop everyone. Nope, he's going to burn you on the ground, right? So that is one option. The only other option, to be honest, in my mind that makes sense for DeAndre Hopkins is New York Jets.
Yes, but I also heard the Jets are not pursuing him.
I know.
That doesn't mean it wouldn't be a good fit still.
If we're going a good fit, I think the Jets would be an amazing option. It gives not only Aaron Rodgers, he gives him 2 studs on the outside. You have what he's been begging Green Bay to do forever. Now you have his two studs on the outside. The only other third one I was going to throw out there would be Baltimore. I think Baltimore would be a really good fit if you're
Man,
thinking
could you
about.
imagine DeAndre Hopkins and Odell Beckham Jr. in 2016?
Can you
That's a
imagine what that
scary wide
locker room is going to
receiver
be like?
duo then. Yeah.
So those are
No,
my
that's
teams.
one that I've thought about too, but one other one I'll throw out there, and it could totally be negated by whether or not your quarterback's healthy or not, is the Raiders.
Which
You
they might not even
get
have Carr.
Well,
Tom
they don't
Brady
have
might be
Derek
it,
Carr, but they might not have Jimmy G to with like this physical that he's got to pass. Is what I'm saying.
and
So then it's like it
Tom
doesn't
Brady might be
matter
it.
who you got. Maybe Tom Brady, part owner, decides to go out and play like Michael Jordan did as part owner of the Wizards back in the day. But no, I think that like having Renfro and Devontae Adams, like your precision route runners that are maybe more like slot and like 10, 15 yards out guys would be a you need to throw in a guy that can go up and get the deep balls, the jump balls, and I feel like that's what DeAndre Hopkins could do and just complete that receiver room, if you will.
Yeah,
But again, if you don't have Jimmy G at quarterback, I don't think it makes a difference.
that is
And
true.
then I know Kansas City's like another one where it's like he fits that role as like that big true X receiver that they don't have, but Patrick Mahomes is the system. I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
Kansas City Chiefs are gonna win, whether they have
You have
DeAndre
Andy Reid.
Hopkins as their best receiver, whether they have Marquez Valdez Scantling as their best receiver.
They
It doesn't
they
matter.
beat
The
the
Chiefs are
Browns with
just gonna
Chad
beat.
Henne. They beat the
Yeah.
Browns with Chad Henne. Let's just put it that
Yeah.
way.
Also, I don't know how much money the Chiefs have
Yeah, they don't have
anyways,
much, I don't
if
think.
they can even make it with the work with the cap and stuff.
All I'm
But
saying is as you can tell, Josh and I are not biased at all. DeAndre Hopkins, if you listen to this show,
we
which
just
obviously
laid
we know
out a
you
lot
will.
of good arguments. And then let me
Yes.
also just throw in if you're the Browns, remember you traded 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. You're in win now mode. We got nothing to build towards the
You have
future.
nothing to
You got
lose.
to use all your resources to win now. It worked for the Los Angeles Rams. It's got to work for
Dude,
Cleveland.
listen,
Otherwise, this
Cleveland,
trade was a
Cleveland.
colossal failure.
Listen, we are just asking for one Super Bowl. If you don't win another one for 40 years, it's fine. Okay, we just want one. We just want a we're tired of hearing that we're the toilet seat, all right?
Oh
We're
man.
tired of it. We just want to win. We want a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Not really a whole lot has been happening in the NFL since we last talked, but you did have something that you want to bring up
Yeah.
about college football.
So to finish up the show here in a couple minutes, the one thing I do want to talk about before we finish up is Deion Sanders in the Colorado, mainly Colorado. I mean, it's not Deion Sanders, but let's be honest, it's mainly Deion Sanders. He's basically running the show in Colorado right now, at University of Colorado. But Colorado is in talks, preliminary talks. 247 Sports come out with it, and a few other places that they're in preliminary talks, or they're trying to push to go back to the Big 12, which I think is very fascinating because they wanted to get out of the Big 12 so fast about 8-9 years ago, and now they're right back into it. So, I wonder where that happened. It's called I don't know. The Pac-12 is like dying. So
Pac-12 is
for
gonna be interesting, dude. Like,
it's gonna be
what's it
weird,
gonna
man.
look like in a few years when you have no USC,
I
no
mean,
UCLA, and
Oregon
then
says they're
there's
staying, but I don't believe them.
yeah, Oregon and Washington are the
This
two
is my
people who have
thought.
been talking about leaving.
I've said Oregon will become independent. I would not be shocked if you see Oregon become independent. Would not be shocked. But this is the thing. The interesting thing about Colorado is going to the Big 12 is, to be honest, you look at the Big 12, like after Oklahoma and Texas leave, it's not really a league that's like getting me hyped up about watching a lot of college football. Again, that's
Yeah,
just
I
my
mean,
opinion.
you're gonna have like Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor, Oklahoma State.
Cincinnati,
You're gonna have Cincinnati coming in, UCF coming in.
West Virginia.
Was yeah, they haven't been exciting for a while though. But you're right, the Big 12 is not
Like
really an exciting conference
Like, to be
in a
honest,
few
I would love to
years.
see Colorado in the Big Ten. I think Colorado in the Big Ten would be fun to watch. Like, that would be fun to have Deion Sanders going against Ryan Day and Riley out there at USC. Like, that'd be fun. That would be hilarious to watch. So
It's like coaches on all ends of the spectrum, right? You got super serious, all business Ryan Day. You got kind of sleazeball offensive genius, young guru Lincoln Riley, and then
then
you
you got
got the
the
guy that's
man.
supposed, and then you got the guy that's like done it on the field that
Yeah.
is just
And then
all
you
about
got
the brand
and
and the
then you
internet
got
and social media with Dion, just kind of like a reality show
and
kind
then you
of
got
running style.
then you got your uncle Brett Bielema at Illinois.
Your uncle Brett Bielema, who probably just
And then you got
when
the
he's
weird.
not coaching football is busy
Then
drinking beer with the
hey,
boys,
then you
mowing
got
his lawn.
then at Michigan, you got the weird guy that you have to keep away from the white van in hardball.
Gosh. You went there. That probably is him though. If we were to
Let's be
stereotype
honest.
every single Big Ten coach,
James Franklin's the bald comedian, basically. Haha.
the ball
Yeah,
comedian, or is he the gym teacher that takes everything seriously, but nobody takes him
that's
seriously?
true. That's true. Yeah, that could be him as well.
His shtick, nobody buys it.
Maybe we should do that before the college football season, doing like superlatives for coaches in the college football. I think we should do
Give
that.
every college football coach a role in your business.
Oh
Let's just say
boy.
you're like I don't know, like let's just say that like or at work, you know what I mean? Like The
Yeah,
Office,
The
like how
Office. Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like which not necessarily which office character would they
Oh,
be, but
John
which guy
Har
at work is
John
which guy at
Harbaugh.
work is Ryan Day? Is Ryan Day like your business, your company's CEO? And then is like PJ Fleck, like your hyped up college intern, and then is Brett Bielema, the guy that has been there for I don't know 25 years, and I don't know.
John Harbaugh's Dwight, 100%. It's not even a debate.
Yeah, but it's not even necessarily like just
I
picking a
know,
character
I
from
know.
the TV show The
But to
Office,
me,
but it's
that's
just
what I have
like
in
which
mind.
guy at work is so and so.
Oh, 100%, because it's funny. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, that is the news we have for you this week. We hope you enjoyed our little fun, I don't know, going down the old logo competition again, I guess, or debate, as I would say. So let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think Josh was right? Do you think I was right? Do you think we both were completely off? Which probably that's normally what people say. But I will tell you, if you have the Trailblazers in your top 5, please do not comment below.
You
Okay.
don't get to debate.
It's just it's not even fun. Okay. But no, anyways, we hope you guys had an amazing day wherever you're at in the world listening. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys can go out and play some sports, maybe get some nice sunshine, hang out at the pool. I don't know. Do something fun, hang out with friends and family. And until next time. Before I do that, I about to set up. I forgot to promote ourselves. If you love this on YouTube, go ahead and click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You can see all the different episodes that we've had in the past. Where I think this is episode 90, by the way, Josh, of the show.
Wow.
Like the first 20 I did with myself, but you've been on for 70, so it's a good percentage. So episode 90, so you can check out all the other episodes previously. And also, if you're on Spotify, make sure you let us know. Share it with your friends. Share the links with your friends and family. That'd be much appreciated. But yeah, anyways, have a great weekend. And as always, we'll see you next time.